Jr.'s teammate. They want to make sure they're not in the pit at the same time, so they stagger the pit stops. Al Jr. knows that both of their pits are now free for him to use.
They work their way around the track, and here comes Al Unser Jr. Now they're pushing a car down the pit road. That is the Eddie Cheever car just ahead. Here's Lynn St. James.
Obviously a very critical stop. They get all the fuel in, and the fuel is gushing out. Fuel everywhere. There's fire.
A fire in the pits as two of the crew members come over, and pandemonium down in the Gallus pit. Al Unser Jr. comes out of the car. They dump water on him, but he wants to stay in. Now he decides he's out of there, and with the help of his crew, he climbs out of the car. Just that quickly, it lights up.
I'm sorry, I don't know where the cameraman is.
Lynn St. James appears to be okay. She was right on top of this. Shelley Unser gets a dousing as she grabs a bucket of water in case anyone else. That's the one good thing about alcohol. While on one hand you can't see the fire, on the other hand, one injured crewman there.
Of course, the big panic situation is to get the driver out. He is strapped inside that car when the car erupts into flames. And one of the crew members, we can't see exactly who it is, does have an injury.
Fire, speculate on this one at all.
Fire, of course, is one of the great hazards and one of the most feared hazards from a race car driver's point of view. But the pit stop, we alluded to it earlier on, how important the good pit stop is. Disaster for Gallus racing.
Well, they've gone to a full course yellow as a result of this. Serious situation down in the pits. And of course, we're greatly concerned for the safety of those Gallus Preco crew members. Plenty of medical help right there. I was about to say that the good news is that the water that they throw, unlike if you throw it on a gasoline fire, would only spread it. It dilutes the alcohol down below its own combustion point and puts the fire out. So a couple places here in the pit, they are working on that car, actually working on some of the crew members.
When Al Unser Jr. came into the pits, they sent out the water bottle. He threw it away immediately, didn't want it, and right then we saw the problem. The fuel.
Let's take a look at it right here.
Out. Here he comes in. There's the water bottle. He immediately says, no, I don't want the water bottle. Now they're trying to put the fuel in, and it gushes out immediately over the crew member here on the left front. Then it catches fire. I think it's that crewman there that, in fact, the flames must have got. And then, of course, the water buckets come over, because that's the only thing that dilutes methanol is water. That's why they have so much of it in the pit lane.
I believe I know who that is, but I certainly don't want to speculate. I don't want to guess on a serious situation like this.
Now, Al Unser Jr. is not out of the car yet. Watch Rahul's crew. They're over there. The Preco crew are over there trying to get Al Jr. and the rest of the fire put out.
And the kart safety team is there. And Al Unser Jr. is going to take a ride to the hospital. By the way, all these shots being gained by Bunt Young, our cameraman. We've been on many assignments together. There's Terry Trammell, the head of the medical team here, an orthopedic surgeon out of Indianapolis.
Luckily, the kart medical team are probably the best. Look at Al Unser Jr. has a cold, wet towel to his face. We're not sure yet whether Al suffered any burns or any injuries. Let's get down to Gary Gerald.
We're at the front of the vehicle. No official word, but we can see Al and Shelley in the back. As you're seeing from Bunt Young's camera position, we've seen 3 other crew members receiving administrative medical aid on the other side of the wall. Meanwhile, you've got race cars coming in. Mario Andretti pitting. I don't think there's any serious problem here for Al Unser as kart safety vehicle 2 takes him away. Let's go to Lynn St. James.
Here with the 2 crew members, it's Mike Arnold and Paul Harvey. They've got burns on his legs and also burns on his face, but they have a full crew here of medical people that are taking attention. They have an ambulance that's taking one of them away, but there's also some minor injuries. There's a number of crew members that have minor injuries, but those are the 2 crew members' names that I could get.
Well, let's hope that they are both okay. Our wishes certainly go with them, and we will keep you updated on that situation. Plenty of help there. Here is the onboard camera view of the same pit stop.
Unser Jr., of course, sits there, expects everything to go normally. Now panic sets in. The water has already begun to come down. Unser Jr. puts his visor down. See that? To protect his face from the flames. Now he gets stuck in the car. Look, he has to get back in. Something wrong. Undoes the steering wheel. Can't get it off. A crew member comes, helps, yanks them out of the car.
Yeah, the hesitation was to climb out of these cars. You have to remove the steering wheel. And he tried to come out while the steering wheel was still attached. They got it off. The car sits in the pits. And Unser's race. He was the leader when he came to the pits. Is done. Danny Sullivan under a full course yellow takes over the lead. Bobby Rahal is in second place.
Very concerned. Rick, can you tell us what you were able to see and give us an assessment of what you know?
My guys are down, and I don't know. I think Al's okay, but Mike's in real bad shape right here, and he's awake, and it's just a real terrible thing that happened. You know, this racing's a very dangerous thing, and it's tough.
Do you have any idea, did the hose become disengaged, or do you have any idea why the fuel came?
I was so busy trying to pull people out, I just didn't know, Gary.
All right, obviously very concerned, very shaken. We'll let Rick Gallus continue about his duties here as they continue to work with Mike Arnold and another injured crew member, Paul.
We worry about Mike Arnold. Rick Gallus, you heard the emotion in his voice. He is more than just a strong businessman who also owns an Indycar team. This team is his family as far as he's concerned, so you can see it there behind those sunglasses. He's definitely worried about the safety of all of his people.
That's exactly right. When drivers do interviews, they refer to, we did this and we did that. It's so much a family and a team effort, and everybody worries for the safety of every member of that crew.
Rick Gallus will refer to his associates as partner, and he absolutely means it.
Here he comes in for his last pit stop. He was leading the race at this time, came in for what he had hoped was a normal pit stop. The crew goes in, the vent man sticks the vent in the top, and right as the fuel lines get pushed in, suddenly the fuel erupts. Now, it's obviously the car is empty, so the fuel is coming out of the hose, but flames did erupt, and it caught fire to the rest of the methanol that went around the pit lane, and of course the car was being swarmed on at that particular time by the crew members changing the tires.
I want to point out too that while everyone else was running the other way, one of the firemen was right there in the middle. You can see them marked by their fireman helmets. Those firemen were moving toward the fire while everyone else was moving away.
This is a good example of why CART makes everybody in the pit wear fire suits. People think they're protected because they're not in the car or on the racetrack. This is a classic example of why everybody should wear and does wear the fireproof materials.
And of course, the methanol fuel is invisible. It burns. There's Bunt, who was right in the middle of all of that. Good service for us, Bunt.
We never saw him falter, and people pushed him aside, and he kept to his job, trying to bring us the incredible pictures that he did of that incident.